Are you gonna get free this time?
Welcome to our One Breath podcast, brought to you by SriPonya, which means beautiful healing. Here in Central Oregon, we are building pathways of healing, dignity, and belonging through community-based peer support. Our Youth in Progress program walks alongside young people as they navigate life's challenges, providing mentorship rooted in lived experience and real compassion. And for our neighbors returning home from incarceration, Brothers and Sisters in Progress offers reentry support that inspires hope, connection, and second chances. At SriPonya, we believe recovery is a community effort and that social enterprise, peer leadership, and heart-centered care can transform lives. One breath, one moment, one relationship at a time. If you believe in this work and want to help us continue offering these vital programs, please consider making a donation today. Your support fuels healing, strengthens families, and expands opportunity for some of our most resilient community members. Donation information is included in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and welcome to the One Breath podcast. Welcome back to the One Breath podcast. Today's episode is a special one. We're joined by Ruby Pacheco, the Director of Youth in Progress for SriPonya Collective. Someone who brings both clarity and compassion into every space she enters. Ruby is wise beyond her years, grounded and deeply devoted to recovery, not just as a concept, but as a lived, shared journey. Her work centers on supporting young people navigating trauma, mental health challenges, and substance use disorders, meeting them with dignity, cultural humility, and real hope. In this conversation, Ruby shares what it means to build pathways to healing that are youth-led, community-rooted, and sustained one breath at a time. We're honored to have her. Well, this morning on the One Breath podcast, I have the distinct privilege and pleasure to sit with my friend, Ruby Pacheco. And Ruby, it's so great for you to take the time to come in and share your story. You know, one of the things that we are up to here is like creating a community of recovery, creating a beloved community of people that support one another in recovery and transformation. Mm-hmm. And, you know, as you sit here as the guest this morning, you have a story.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've lived a life.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Really grateful to be here.
Yeah.
And to be a part of this community.
Yeah, and you know, I think I'd like to start kind of present day. Share, if you would, share, you know, what you're up to in the world and the relationship that you have with your family, with the work you're doing here at one of our high schools, and just what you're up to in the world today.
Okay, so I am the youth director with SriPonya Youth in Progress, and I have a big family at home, mother of 6 plus 2 step kiddos. One's an adult, but yeah, I'm very honored to even be a part of their lives, and technically married to my partner, and he's also in recovery. Really grateful to have met you and your spouse on our recovery journey. Mm-hmm. We met in the rooms of recovery. And it's been really cool to be a part of the recovery in Warm Springs. I know me and my partner had started like an NA meeting at Behavioral Health, and that's where we met you.
Yeah.
And then eventually we met Jennifer, you know, and then when Smurf Village opened up, there's recovery on the res there, and we've been there since day one in those recovery rooms, and there's Wellbriety there now too, and it's been an honor to be able to watch these rooms grow. You know, we started out just us, and then a year later we got like a house full in there, and it's been just beautiful to see other people and their journey, and being able to be a part of that healing forest. You know, I take this role seriously because we are the example of what recovery can look like if you choose that path.
Yeah, for many of us, it takes a while for us to like come to our senses and realize that it might be a good thing for us to step onto that path. Yeah,
I think for me, like, I know a lot of the people, I used with a lot of the people down there in Madras, you know, so it's a big deal to be able to show, like, hey, we're sober now, and it's possible, you know.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting to go into the Bridges High School, and I got to share my story last week with the youth, and it was like, man, I cried, and it's huge just to be able to share that story. Like,
why was that so significant for you? Because as I recall, that was your elementary school when you were growing up?
That was my elementary school. And, you know, I had a lot of anxiety leading up to this big day of me speaking there. And then finally, like a couple nights before, it was like little Ruby told me, that's what I refer to my younger self. Little Ruby said, it's okay to feel scared, but remember, this was your safe place. The elementary school, I have so many good memories there. That was my safe place, you know. And then I felt at ease. And then the day of, I had no anxiety. You know, I just felt like this peace going in there and knowing that I was going to get to share my testimony with these, with the younger generation and let them know, like, there is a way out. You know, I didn't have a very good childhood. And, but I'm here and I made it out of addiction, you know, and I was just really open and honest about what my life was like with them and what it looks like now. Yeah.
You know, that's the opportunity we have. There's what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. And the what it's like now gets to like matter in the world for the benefit of other people. It goes so far beyond our individual experience of like putting down the drink or the drug.
Yeah.
You know, there was the what it was like. What, you know, when you were young, what was occurring in your life that led you to, you know, find drugs or alcohol or both?
Yeah. So I grew up in a home. I'm the youngest of 5. We were very poor, and I grew up in a home where domestic violence was a regular thing that we witnessed or were a part of. So that's where most of the trauma came from. And then at 12, my dad went to prison. And after that, my home became the party house. So there was just drugs and alcohol all the time, you know, available to everybody of all ages, including myself. And so started drinking at 12, stopped going to school, 13 kind of, you know, I was one of the youth that slipped through the cracks, you know. I didn't have any adults that were like, hey, Ruby, why aren't you at school? You know, I just kind of slipped through the system, you know, and got pregnant at 14 and had my son at 15.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I was a baby having a baby, you know. And at 16, had to drop out, start working, and I eventually moved to California for a bit, ended up with my son's dad, and then I ended up leaving him. At the time, I wasn't, and I wouldn't consider myself an addict. I was still strong enough, and things got abusive in that relationship, and I was like, no, I will not live like my parents did, you know. So I left. I got my little Carlos, and I had $40 to my name, 4 diapers, and I came back to Oregon. And shortly after that, lived at my mom's for a bit, the home that I grew up in, and then that home got foreclosed, and so I was able to get an apartment on my own and, you know, try to work and do the mom thing, but I was still only 17, you know, and so at the age of 19, I got into a relationship where this person introduced me to meth, and I hated it. I hated getting high the first 10, 20 times. But, you know, there's that part of addiction, like insanity. We're insane, right? We, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, right?
It's funny how persistent we are with that.
Yeah, and so, like, I would use, and I hated it, but eventually I needed it. I needed the drug to function. And so, yeah, I became addicted. My life just got worse and worse. Eventually, I was no longer raising my son. He was in the care of other people. And then at the age of 23, I got pregnant, and I tried to sober up. And I did for a while, but shortly after I had my daughter, I fell off. You know, I just didn't know recovery. And I remember just, like, I wanted to be clean. I would slip up, and I would sober back up, and I just was surrounded by it, so I had no clue how to better myself. I didn't know about treatment or meetings or anything, you know. I was just, like, in this cycle of addiction.
Yeah, that the term that we hear in the rooms quite a bit is the incomprehensible demoralization, where we're like there's that something within us that we desperately want out, and we can't find our way out.
Yeah.
And we swear we're not going to drink or use. We end up drinking and using, and it's just this spiral of what they refer to it as the shame spiral, you know. And it sounds as though you went through a relatively prolonged period of, like, really wanting to end the cycle.
Oh, yeah. And that cycle continued until I was 27. And then I finally found a way out. I guess I hit my rock bottom. I was homeless, staying with different friends, and addicted to meth still. And then I found out I was pregnant with my 4th. And I was like, what the hell am I going to do? What am I doing? How can I bring another child into this world when I don't have, like, a pot to piss in, you could say, you know?
Literally.
Literally. Yeah. So I got on my phone and I started looking up, like, treatment or, like, inpatient or whatever, any recovery thing I could look for. At this point, I actually did know about recovery meetings because I had gone to two actually by that time. So I just Googled on my phone, and I called different places in Bend, and there was the Shepherd's House Ministries. They have a women's house. And interviewed with them, and I got accepted. They allowed me to move in, and that was my first taste of real recovery.
Wow. And is relapse a part of your story? Did you, or have you remained clean from that time you went to Shepherd's House?
No, relapse was a big part of my story, actually. I didn't graduate from that program. I left early. Shortly after, I relapsed, you know, and then I tried. There used to be a place called Turning Points here. It was outpatient, and I did Best Care for a little bit. And so I did these outpatient places for the meantime, and then I ended up moving to Woodburn with my big sister. And that really helped. But at that time, it was, like, right before COVID happened, COVID hit, and I started drinking a lot. So I wasn't using meth, but I was drinking. And eventually I found meth over there, you know. I don't know, us addicts just find each other, I guess.
Yeah, it's a miracle.
Yeah. So I ended up slipping up, I believe, about 3 times. And the very last time that I had my slip up, I had come to town to Madras, and I was helping my mom with something. I ended up drinking somehow. I'm a blackout drinker, you know, and I come to and I'm like getting high, you know. And that time when I came down, the come down is horrible too, and I remember feeling so alone and like nobody was around me, you know, and I'm at my mom's pretending like I'm not high, like playing, you could say like playing possum, you know, fake sleeping so people won't know, you know, what I did. But I had this huge shame, this horrible shame, and I told myself I never want to feel this again. And so I had to make the decision to, you know, have some really strong boundaries. And I told a really good friend of mine, like, I cannot hang out with you anymore. I can't do this, because anytime I'm ready to get high, it happens, you know. And that was hurtful. She's my best friend, you know, and that hurt her. It hurt me, you know, like those friend breakups, I think they hurt more than a regular heartbreak, you know, or relationship heartbreak. But that hurt. And she's sober now. She's clean and sober.
Seriously?
Today. Yeah.
Wow.
So, and it took a
now
while.
that is a miracle.
Yeah, that is.
You know, a lot of those friends don't find their way into the rooms and into the community. So, wow, what a gift.
I know.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so then I was back in Woodburn, still living over there, and I didn't want to drink anymore either, you know, so that happened in April 7th, 2021. So that May, I looked into Oxford sober living, and I found one in Salem, got interviewed, and they accepted me. Like, I was walking out the front door with little Nova, and they opened the door like, "You're in," you know, like they had a quick meeting and they wanted me there, you know, and it was really special and meaningful.
Yeah.
And
How long did you stay in that Oxford house?
8 months. It helped my recovery. I grew, I flourished. I did the 30 and 30, and I was in regular meetings in Salem, had a beautiful recovery family over there that I still stay in touch with. And I love them. They are, like, very dear to my heart. They helped me a lot.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
There's something so special about those people that walked with us in those early days.
Yeah.
They were willing to walk through a lot of stuff with us, which, you know, how could you ever thank them enough? How could I ever thank those people enough?
And who would have known that they would be the people to make that big change for us, right? Because I feel like in the rooms, we all come from different walks of life, but we all have that one thing in common, you know? And our stories are actually similar, even though we're all from different places, different races and everything, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's this saying, you know, it doesn't matter if you come from Prison or Park Avenue. We all walk in here.
Yeah.
And it's an equal, we're on a level playing field when it comes to, you know, our struggle with addiction. You know, how does it relate? What was it that you were finding with the drugs and alcohol that brought you, at least temporarily, it brought you some relief, some medicine?
Yeah, it was just wanting to escape the reality of the trauma I had endured. You know, I was also sexually abused, and I never got to speak about it. You know, actually just started doing healing work this year about it, you know, and it's taken many years to even be able to admit that that happened, you know, and that's such a taboo thing, or, you know, we're raised, don't talk about that, you know, we don't, just hide that, you know, there's so much shame that comes with, like, being sexually abused, and so I think a lot of it was that, and, you know, just coming from a dysfunctional home and just not knowing how to regulate my emotions or even be a human being, you know, because all I knew was chaos. So.
Yeah. So you grew up the youngest of 5. And was there, you know, what was your experience growing up in a family? You know, that's not a small family these days. And to be the youngest and to be looking up at these bigger people and witnessing what you witnessed, what was that like for you?
I think I had a lot of fear growing up, you know. I blocked out a lot from my childhood. And, but I was the baby, so I didn't get it as bad as everyone else, you know. But I do remember my oldest sister was always very gentle and caring. She was like a second mother, you know. And so I was babied and taken care of. And I remember playing alone a lot, you know. I was kind of off to the side a lot. Yeah, and I think I have one good memory was my parents took us to Newport one time. We went to the beach. That's the good memory I can remember. I was about 5, I think.
And as a family?
As a family,
Yeah.
I think that was our only, like, family outing. We did church stuff, but those aren't the memories that I hold on to, you know.
Yeah. Now, in your walk of recovery, there's 12-step, there's, but you also have probably, and I think you've even shared that you've done some of the deeper work with what we refer to in the rooms as outside help.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, what has been your experience? There's been, you know, we hear in the rooms of AA or NA or other 12-step programs that, and it's been kind of my mantra, we show up in these rooms and we listen to learn and we share to heal. And there certainly is healing that occurs as part of the fellowship in the program. But many of us find our way to finding people that give us the opportunity to do a little bit deeper dive into those underlying causes and conditions.
Yeah.
And
so.
what has that been like for you? And how would you encourage someone to seek the outside help as well as the help we get with one another in 12-step?
So I actually, after I had my 3-year-old, I got really bad postpartum depression. And at this time, we're now living in Warm Springs. And I did have a slip with alcohol at that time, but I knew that's not how I wanted to live because I already knew what that meant. That was going to mean I'm going to end up using again. I heard he said I'm not going to do that, you know. So I seeked out mental health. So I was seeing a holistic doctor, which is Dr. Tam, and he's helped so much over the past 3 years, and a therapist too. For months, I was seeing each of them weekly. That was a non-negotiable for me. I was going in there. First, I would see my therapist, then I would see Dr. Tam on Tuesdays. That was a thing. And then eventually that's when we started that NA meeting because I was like, well, we're already in the building Tuesdays for 2 hours. We might as well start an NA meeting. And we're already here, you know, and that's kind of how that came about. And so, yeah, the seeing a professional mental health therapist. And if you have the opportunity to see Dr. Tam, I highly recommend, or a holistic doctor that's going to help with that intergenerational trauma and the stuff that our bodies hold on to. He does the acupuncture and stuff. That has helped. And now I am seeing a different therapist who's helping with the IFS work, which is internal family systems.
Explain that a little bit, because I've had some exposure and experience with that as well.
Okay, this is the deep work, and I've only barely done a little bit. But so I am a person who gets angry very easy. My anger protected me my whole life. That is my safe blanket, I guess you could say, anger. That's the easiest emotion that I'm able to access, probably because of the way it protected me my whole life. And so recently did some work, and I was able to get to the root of where my anger came from by going back to my childhood and finding little Ruby, who is a 4-year-old who lived in fear, who was scared. So that anger became a protector. And so when I did this work, I got super emotional. I was crying because I had never dug that deep. I just thought, I'm just an angry person. That's how my dad was, No, it came from somewhere.
It's in the DNA.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And then so I did this exercise where I went and found little Ruby, and I bring her to a safe place. I got to make a little safe place for her, and in my mind I think of it as like a little snow globe, and that's where I brought her to. There's this tree and this green grass, and I sat there with her and I hugged her and I told her, we're safe. I am a 32-year-old woman, sober mom that lives in a peaceful home.
Wow.
And I'm raising babies, and there's no abuse in this home. And I hugged her, and I told her, you can stay here. I'll come back and visit you from time to time. And so that is a little bit of the IFS work that I've started doing.
Yeah, that's such a powerful description and experience. That, wow. Yeah, I can feel it.
Yeah. It was intense, too. I was like bawling when it happened.
Yeah.
But that's where the healing happens.
Yeah. How would you encourage people? Because there's the stigma of seeking help for our mental health, and many of us that anger, we like think the best thing we can do is to fight against it, to like war against it, and your experience is completely the opposite of that. It's finding where the wound originated and finding that person that you were and extending love and compassion. How would you encourage and do you encourage people to be willing to have that kind of courage?
Oh, yeah. So we're holding weekly circles now at the Bridges High School, and I actually just shared this week, about going to mental health and, seeing a therapist. And I said, we're the new generation, our parents were raised in the generation of, no, you don't need therapy. That's weird. We don't do that. You just get up and do something. Get up and clean, or get up and get busy. There's no depression. There's no anxiety, But actually, we're the new generation, and we get to do things different. We get to heal. Like, I'm healing so my kids don't go through the shit that I went through, We get to put a stop to it. And with them, I think I said, we get to heal. You get to be the example for your siblings, for the younger generation. We get to put a stop to that because healing is possible. Our parents didn't get to, but we get to for them.
Yeah. And you're talking to high school kids with that message.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. And what has been the response of your experience? You've been there a couple of weeks now.
Yeah.
What are you experiencing from with the team that you're there with SriPonya, and the folks from the school, including the students?
So what we're experiencing is they're showing up to the groups. We had a full room the first day that we went back after the assembly, and now they're seeking peer support, because that's something that we offer is peer support.
And peer support is the opportunity for a young person to be able to sit one-on-one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's different than therapy because we have lived experience. You know, we are showing up with having had the messed up childhoods, having had all the trauma, you know, XYZ has happened to us. And we're here and we can shine a little light of hope that things do get better. You know, and I think that's the difference, is the lived experience.
Yeah. Yeah, many of us, you know, my story is I swore every day for a long time that, damn it, I'm not going to drink today. And every day for a long time, it would always turn into, well, maybe I won't drink very much today. And I had lots of people telling me I was drinking way too much because I was a blackout drinker. You know, I was a daily binge drinker. I've heard that term. And it took, and I had lots of people who didn't know what it was like to suffer addiction, telling me that what I was up to was harmful, it was destructive, and with all of those, all of that emotional, those frothy emotional appeals didn't penetrate my heart or my psyche at all. But the first time I sat down with another addict, alcoholic, and said, man, I think I need some help, their lived experience, his lived experience, and him sharing with me his journey was exactly what I needed to hear. And from that day, I haven't had a drink.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's a miracle.
So it is a miracle. And the experience you get to provide, the environment that you and the team are providing for these young people, give them the opportunity, while they're still really young, to begin to explore this path.
Yeah, I think my main thing is I never want anybody to not know how to get out of addiction, because I wanted to for so many years to not be in it, and I had no idea how. So I don't want anyone else to ever experience not knowing how to get out. You know?
Yeah, even if they're not ready right now, there's still that you can provide what they're going to need when whatever wakes up in us wakes
planting
up.
Seeds.
Yeah.
Planting little seeds is the way I think of it.
Yeah.
Because maybe when these youth become adults, if they are in the similar situation, they'll know, hey, I remember I went to these meetings. Where can I find one now? You know?
Yeah. What kind of support or what kind of experience are you having with the staff at the high school?
Very supportive.
Oh, that's so...
Yeah, they're like super grateful we're coming in. We want to be there, you know? And I think that's what makes the difference. Is like, this is our calling, you know? It's work from the heart. It's not a clocking in and, I got to go to work. It's like, no, I'm here because I care about you. I want to make a difference.
Have you always been a person with that as part of your nature, or has that come along as you've been experiencing your own liberation and your own freedom?
I think I've always had that in me. I knew when I first got clean that I wanted to be in the recovery field. And I remember I kept hearing, you have to have 2 years clean to be a recovery mentor, you know? And I'm like, man, how am I ever going to get 2 years clean, you know?
How in the hell does that happen?
Like, man, I want to do it now, you know?
Yeah.
So then here we are, 4 years. I'm 4 years clean off of meth, and this year I became a CRM, certified recovery mentor. So
Yeah. So you've realized what was in your heart from almost day one. You've realized it.
Yeah.
And it's become part of who you get to be in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love working with youth. I was a daycare teacher before I got a job here, and I loved the babies or the preschoolers, it was just also work from the heart, caring for them. But this is a little different, and get to share my experience, strength, and hope almost on a daily basis.
Yeah. Well, your experience, strength, and hope provides a lot of hope for folks here in Central Oregon. And what do you see as, looking into the nearest future or the farthest future you can look into? What is your heart calling you to?
I honestly love this work that we're doing, working with the youth and just being able to share with them, showing them that there is a way out, continuing to do this, But we've only been in there 2 weeks. They don't know us yet, but being there on a weekly basis and showing them, hey, we care. Because a lot of youth probably don't feel like their families care, their teachers care. I was one of those youth that I felt like nobody cared. But I'm going to keep showing up for them, and I'm going to keep showing them, like, hey, I care. Our team is, and I can honestly say, like, our whole team, their heart is in it. I don't know how we got so lucky to have such an amazing team, but we are lucky. It's like a family. And every single one of us, our hearts are in it. We'll keep showing up for them as long as they'll allow us to.
Yeah, that is quite amazing. I happen to know the team members, and just what a powerful group of women that are walking into that school every week now, and powerful from the standpoint that your heart is what carries the message, and it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
So, where else are you finding your opportunity to share your experience, strength, and hope?
Yeah, well, I still go to meetings, weekly. Wellbriety is a big part of who I am.
Explain Wellbriety compared to like AA or NA.
Okay, so Wellbriety means to be sober and well, but it's not only for like an alcoholic or a drug addict. It's all addictions are welcome, We're not going to push you out if you say the wrong language, or, any race is also welcome, and I love the spirituality piece of it. I love that they speak about the children, the women, the importance of each role, that each member carries. So I love NA and I love AA also, but I really appreciate these certain values that Wellbriety carries, and those are like how we hold the women up and the children. And they talk about how Native men were never abusers, and it's all about going back to your traditions and Creator and walking in aligned with Creator, and the way things should be or were before, and that's what's going to help keep you sober and well.
Yeah, have you always had an experience of connection with God or Spirit or Creator?
Not really. I grew up very confused because of the religion we were a part of growing up. I was very confused for a long time. I didn't know what I was. I thought I was Christian. I thought I was this, but Christianity, I didn't feel that was fully aligned with who I was, I do believe in God. I do like going to church, but I don't go there as a Christian, you could say. I go there as I'm here to hear the message that Creator is giving me, you know. And I've gone to church, and it's going to sound crazy, but Creator has translated what they were saying in a way that my heart would comprehend it. And I got emotional, you know, and I cried. I've cried before telling this story because it's a different connection than, you know, than the certain religions, like do it this way and only this way. No, there's actually a more beautiful connection in just doing it the way I feel God, the way He speaks to me.
Yeah, it seems as though when we hear that still small voice, so to speak, that our hearts are inclined to really follow what we hear instead of something being imposed upon us. You know, one of the things that, because I grew up in a very, very religious home, and of course addiction kind of, you know, it inspired me to walk away from all of that for a long, long time. And I just shared recently with someone on the podcast that I feel like a prodigal son. I feel like a returning home, but it's not the home that I left. It wasn't that. It's not that religious dogma and doctrine and rules. It's a home of love. It's a home of tenderness. It's a home of, we are so damn glad you found your way back. And I'm so delighted to be in that experience with Creator, you know. And then that extends to one another. You know, we get to share that sense of belonging with one another. And how has that been for you regarding, you know, the impact that you've experienced with other brothers and sisters on the path, you know?
Yeah, it's been beautiful, you know. And even just here, like, we all sit in circle. Well, righty, we sit in circle because we're all interconnected, you know. And yeah, it's been a blessing being able to be a part of other people's stories or struggles, you know, and just hearing them out. And like you mentioned earlier, that's where the healing happens, you know. They share and we understand and we don't judge.
Yeah. When was the last time you were with a group of people that allowed you to share so vulnerably, and the acceptance was just prolific in the room? You just filled the room.
Yeah, that was yesterday. You know, and it's really cool because I get to come to work and I don't have to wear a mask. I don't have to pretend I'm okay. Each morning we start our mornings sitting in circle. We smudge and we sit in circle and we do a gratitude or a prayer, and then we do a check-in, whatever we're feeling or what happened in the last few days since we've seen each other. And I always share very honestly about what I'm going through. And a lot of the time I'm crying. Like, I'm a crybaby now. I just let it out. I'm a Pisces, so yeah, I cry all the time. And then we do an I feel statement. And I do believe that's where the trust has been built with the youth that come to the drop-in center and with each other. You know I'm in a safe space all the time, you know. At work, not a lot of people can say that they feel safe or they can share anything. Like, I've worked in places where I have to pretend I'm okay all the time, you know. I'm wanting to cry, but I'm holding back, you know. But here I get to be vulnerable, and I'm accepted, not judged, and it feels good. And then I let it out, and I'm okay after. Smudge a little more, and we're good to go, you know.
Well, and then your experience of being able to do that and find the healing from that, then you get to be that for other folks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that to me has been priceless, is to have the healing such that I get to be just a safe space. I don't have anybody's answer. Do you ever feel like you've got just the right advice for anyone?
No.
No. But our hearts can connect at a level that the opportunity is there to create a safe environment.
Yeah.
For people to find their own healing and their own way to create or into the beloved community of healing.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, as we you kind of get ready to wrap things up, if there's, with you doing the work that you do with young people, if you were to look right in that camera and speak to a young person that's struggling, what words of encouragement would you have?
I'd say that life may be hard. We don't have control of the things that happen to us, but we can control our healing, and there is a community of people who will love you and support you and walk alongside you until you learn how to love yourself. We're here, and there's a beautiful community of people that just want to see you thrive. That's
beautiful. Well, Ruby Pacheco, I so appreciate you taking the time. And, in the show notes and the email that we send out to everyone who has subscribed will include information about, we didn't mention the drop-in center specifically, but here in Madras, Oregon, we have a drop-in center at 29 Southeast D Street.
Mm-hmm. And we're open Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9:30 to 5:30.
Mm-hmm. So there's always stuff going on during those hours. And then there's always the opportunity to reach out and connect with you, with Jennifer, with Justine. We've got folks here that are able to meet you right where you're at. So,
yes.
So Ruby, thank you so much. My cheeks hurt from smiling.
Thank you, Greg.
I really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the One Breath Podcast. Every story we share is a reminder that healing is possible, community is powerful, and progress is something we build together. If today's conversation moved you, inspired you, or helped you understand our work a little more deeply, we invite you to support SriPonya and our programs, Youth in Progress and Brothers and Sisters in Progress. Your contribution, no matter the size, directly supports youth mentorship, reentry support, and recovery-focused social enterprise across Central Oregon. To learn more, get involved, or make a donation, visit us online and stay connected to this growing community of compassion. A donation link is included in the show notes. Until next time, take a moment, take a breath, and take good care of yourself and each other.